Hi, welcome to the August Rest and Relaxation session. My name is Shelly Maxwell, and I'm an EAP counselor here with the Ascension, Wisconsin EAP. I'm a counselor in the Oshkosh office, and I'm also a registered yoga teacher and teach regularly at a studio here in Oshkosh. We started doing these R&Rs back during COVID. We started, I think, in 2021. And you can find all of our recordings on our YouTube channel, Ascension Wisconsin EAP, under the R&R playlist. And it's a wonderful resource. We meet for a half hour at noon to 12:30 on the first Wednesdays of every month. And this month, we're going to talk about pain. So it's pretty unusual. Usually I'm talking about something that gives more warm fuzzies, but watching the Olympics, the Paris Olympics, and it's just an amazing feat that these athletes accomplish every time they rise to the occasion. And we've been reminded of the highs and lows of pushing ourselves to the limit and witnessing pain. And how do the athletes handle pain? Right, I was just thinking about watching the women's gymnastics and them on the beam. And for those of you who didn't see it or don't remember, I think it was, the majority of the women fell off the beam at some point during their routine. And it can't feel good falling off of a balance beam, and watching the replay, and then to watch them get back up. And how do they make that transition, was something I have been pondering and reflecting on how, like in my own life, right? We have daily experiences of pain. I turned 50 last year. I'm now 51. Some of the ways I pushed through pain in my 20s, I have daily reminders of it now. And I also think back to some of my more serious injuries, like plantar fasciitis, and the emotional pain that came with the physical pain. Okay. And this is what's interesting with the Olympic athletes, is how they handle the emotional pain that comes with the physical pain. So what I mean by emotional injury or pain is both not just, during the incident, which is a lot of worst case scenarios, right? What if I never compete again? What if I can't do my next, race? Or what if it's over, right? And then we realize, oh, I can move things. It's going to be okay. I could even keep competing. I could finish my routine. But then there's that emotional psychological part of us that is anticipating more pain. Okay. And this is something that in yoga we really work on, is how to contain pain. It's a form of mindfulness. We can prolong pain when we're anticipating, like worst case scenario, or like when I had plantar fasciitis and my chiropractor was like, we need to get your running shoes back on. I need you running again. I was in tears putting on my running shoes because I was like, the fear of that pain was intense. And I didn't even feel the pain when I was running. So like I created pain where it wasn't there, if that makes sense. And then, afterwards we can prolong the pain. And let me bring it down. Like, it doesn't have to be a major pain, but let's say you're in an interaction and you tighten up a muscle, right? Can you relate to that? It's my right shoulder, right side of my neck. I'll just clench it up. And I've had to develop a lot of self-awareness of that tightening, but sometimes it tightens and I'm not aware, and I keep it tightened all day. And then by the end of the workday or at night, I'm like, oh my gosh, can you relate to that? Right? So the interaction, whatever it was that caused my muscles to really tighten up, it was over a long time ago, but it kept on going. A funny story, but with my daughter learning to drive, and we're a couple of months in now, so it's much better. But initially, it was that, ooh, tightening, holding my breath. And I had to really practice what I teach you all in these R&R sessions continuously while sitting in the passenger seat of, she's doing good right now. I can relax. And I would go through a body scan of releasing even my toes and my feet. It was amazing how all the different body parts that would tighten up if she got too close to the dirt, not even the shoulder, the dirt, or, the other lane of traffic. My calf muscles, oh, my glutes, my hips, my abdomen. It was like, okay, now breathe. And really realizing that 90% of the time she was driving great. Right? It was just that 10% of the time, but it was almost flipped initially for me with my pain and stress in my body, where I was tight and uh, really, really tense 90% of the time and loose and fluid for only 10%. So I had to really work to flip it. And that's what I'm offering to you, to start to draw awareness into that. So when we talk about pain, right? Let's talk about ways to start to contain it and isolate it. So here we have the warm, soft teddy bear, right? And you see his bandage, you see his owie. So it's like, oh, what happened to the teddy bear? But if I were to hide that bandage, you would have a different emotional reaction to the bear, right? It's only when you see the bandage that you have a different emotional reaction. And this is what we want to cultivate in our body. How do we acknowledge the pain in our body, the stress or the rigidity, but also bring awareness to the parts of the body that are feeling good, right? Like they're okay. And is it all of your body that's in pain? Like if you were to give it a percentage, how much? And I'm not going to minimize your pain. And, my mom with her lupus and her rheumatoid arthritis, sometimes it was full body pain for days. But then after the flare up, she had to bring awareness to, today the pain is relatively low. Okay, that's a way that we cope and heal our body. All right. So, what I invite you to do right now is bring both feet to the floor and bring awareness of your feet resting on the floor. Okay, and you might kick off your shoes. It's summertime right now. If you're watching this video and it's wintertime, you might need to kick off your socks too if you want. Just kind of rub your feet on the floor. If you've got carpeting, it might feel really nice and soothing. And bring awareness to the sensation there. Okay, just stimulating the bottoms of your feet, the soles. And then let your feet come to stillness and sink into the floor a little bit. And let's do a body scan. So you might need to close your eyes. That's perfectly fine. Kind of wiggle in your chair, come to a deeper place of comfort and relaxation in your seat. If you've got a strong backrest, most definitely use it. Like lean into the back of the chair, let your hips sink into the seat of the chair. And then move from your tingling soles of your feet, move up your feet through the ankles. And you're just going to note where there's uncomfortable sensation. Okay. And you might name what type of sensation it is. So moving through the ankles, the lower legs, both the shins and the calves, the knees, the upper legs, right? The quads that are the front of your legs, the thighs, the hamstrings underneath, coming through to the sides of your hips. Okay. And Here we get into the psoas and the IT band, your glutes, your pelvic bowl, your abdominals, and move up through the torso, both the front of the body, the lower and upper abdominals, but also the back of the spine. Okay. And take time here and note the quality of your breathing right now. Is it shallow? Is it tight? How is your upper chest area? Coming to your shoulders, down your arms. My right side of my body was so sore. My partner, he was being a bed hog last night, and I found myself all curled up on the side of the bed. Oh, so it took a little bit of stretching this morning to work out those kinks. So bring awareness to the upper arms, the elbows, lower arms, wrists, palms. Don't underestimate the fingers, those knuckles. Okay. And then move back up the arm, through the back of the neck, up through the crown of the head, through the temples, come to the forehead. What's the forehead feeling? The area around the eyes, around the nose, the cheekbones, the jaw. Notice that. Notice the muscles around the mouth, the tongue, the throat. And come back to your heart center. And here, there might be some hurt in the heart center, and that's okay too. Just observe it. There might have been some hurt feelings that have played out lately, some tough interactions. And create space for that pain or discomfort that you've noticed. Maybe it's just a little bit of soreness or tightness. Validate it. Acknowledge it. A lot of times with pain, we want to push it away because we don't have time for it and we're scared what will happen if we acknowledge it. But actually, when we bring it in and say, yeah, of course, like I walked a lot and I forgot to stretch yesterday, or I've been sitting for how many hours? Of course, my hips are going to be feeling it right now. Just validate it. And then start to bring awareness to those parts of the body that are actually feeling good. You might do that body scan right over again, or you might just reflect back like, actually, for the majority of that body scan I just led you through, you're okay. And we need to acknowledge that too. Okay, nothing's all bad, nothing's all good, right? And now let's come a little bit deeper into our breath. So if your eyes are open, I invite you to close your eyes and bring awareness to the area around your ribs. Notice the expansion of the ribs and the side ribs as the breath comes in. Notice the rise of the heart center, the ballooning of the belly with the inhale, and the hollowing out with the exhale. That's where we bring in that gentle effort of a squeeze, helping that diaphragm move up into the rib cage to expel the air out of the lungs. And you move with the rhythm of your breath. So when you come to the peak of the exhale, then you release that effort and just move right into the inhale, letting your torso expand. You might even feel it down in the tailbone and the lower back. And when you come to the peak of the inhale, that's when you bring in the gentle exhale, the gentle effort of the exhale to bring the air out through the nostrils. Another time, inhaling when you're ready. And when you come to your next exhale, breathe out through the mouth and sigh. Can you feel the relief of that? Let's do it again. Another inhale when you're ready. And once you come to the peak of that and release to the exhale, breathe out through the mouth and sigh. Let it all out. Now, Be aware of that good sensation of that endorphin release wash over your body right now. Enjoy that. Good. So as we continue with that nice deep breathing, let's move the body a bit, okay? And so I'm going to scoot forward to the front of my chair. Feel free to do that as well. And I'm going to make it so you can see me. Okay. And we're going to interlace the fingers, and I invite you to press the palms forward. Now, root through the sits bones and lengthen through the spine, through the crown of the head, really lengthen, and then bring the palms up towards the sky. Press the palms towards your ceiling and let the tailbone come straight down. So you might almost do a mini tuck of it, and you're really rooting through those sits bones. You can wiggle the hips, wiggle, wiggle. Good. Now let side bend over to the side. Now you're not going to go very far. It's more lengthening from the hip that's anchoring you down and up through that heel of the hand. So for me, I'm on my left side. My left hip is grounding down. My left heel of my hand is reaching towards the sky. And now we're going to release. And you can do that on the exhale. It's nice on the inhale then to stretch to the opposite direction, really reaching down through that sits bones and hip and through the heel of the hand on the same side. Feel that nice goodness. Okay, come back. And we're going to be working with the hips and the shoulders a bit here because there's a lot of nerve endings that run very close to the muscle groups and tendons. And for some reason, that's what there's a lot of memory in those memories and nerves that create that tension. So let's twist. So twisting to the right on your next exhale, face. I'm sorry, the right side of the room. And then when you've had enough of that, come back to center. Take a nice deep breath in. And on your exhale, twist to the opposite side. And still lengthening through the arms. Good. Come back to center. And then release the hands and start to circle the wrists as you lower the arms. Now, you're going to feel a lot of circulation here. And it's going to create like a bubbling sensation, which feels really good and actually cooling sometimes. So let's roll the shoulders. Reverse direction. Loosen up. Do some hip circles. Do a little bit of chair dancing, reverse direction. Good. Now, if you can, take a hold of the back of your chair. And we're going to move through some cat-cows. And for you, those of you new to this, cat is where we inhale and bring our chest forward and our shoulder blades come together and back. And then on your exhale, you hug the navel center in, the chin tucks, and you bring the front of the shoulders towards each other to give yourself a nice upper back stretch. And then we're going to do that a couple more times, letting your breath initiate the movement. And here you start to really isolate awareness between the inhale and the exhale. Okay. Ironically, this self-awareness also helps us with pain because we can start to notice, when does the inhale begin and when does the exhale begin? Same with pain. When does distress or owiness start? And then to really notice when it stops. Okay. So you can feel the relief. A couple more times here. This is one of my favorite stretches. My back of my chair, I can really lean forward while holding it. And then it just gives this lovely, lovely upper back stretch. Good. Now come back to sit, really lengthen through the back of the spine. Now lengthen through the front of the spine. Okay, feel that engagement of abdominals. And let's bring the right knee in. Hug it, wrapping your hands around your shin. And you can rotate the ankle, reverse direction, point and flex the foot. Now I want you to cross that knee, and it's going to be really minor, like maybe a centimeter, but bring it towards the center and you're going to notice this nice opening around the lower back. Typically where sometimes sciatica really starts to develop with that area gets pinched. So open it up, good, bring it back and then lower the right foot down and switch. Hug that left knee in, rotate the ankle, reverse direction, point and flex the foot. And then with that grasp around your shin, hug that knee towards the center line. So it's coming towards the heart, but not in, it's just going towards the right side of the body. And notice the difference, whether there's more relief on this side or not as much. Good. And now bring that left foot down to the floor to meet the right. Extend the right leg and clasp behind the thigh, okay? And press through the right heel. You're going to curl those toes towards the knee and really open up the back of the knee here. You're going to notice some heat. You can breathe a little bit deeper. It's a little bit of workout. And you can pulse the leg maybe. Point the toes. And then bring that foot down. Lift the left leg. Clasp behind the thigh. Press through the heel, curl the toes. So you're really flexing that foot towards the wall in front of you. Continue to lengthen through the spine and keep those sits bones anchored. So you're using the abdominal, your core area. Go ahead, now point the toes. Really stretch those tippy toes towards the wall in front of you and then pulse, release that. Let the foot relax and then pulse the leg a little bit. Good. Now bring the left foot down to meet the right and spread the feet just a little bit to come into a straddle pose, but the knees are bent. The legs are at a 90 degree angle, I think. Yeah. And what we're going to do is you can bend the elbows and bring the chest forward. And then we're going to fold. So the navel center is hugging in here. We're squeezing between the shoulder blades. So those elbows are coming up. And now dip the right shoulder down. Lift the left shoulder up and try to look behind you. Okay. And then come up on your inhale. Notice the transition into the exhale and move with it. Dip that left shoulder down. The right shoulder tries to stack as you look behind you. Good. Now let's do it again. Inhale up. Notice when you transition to the exhale, now we're different. And we bring that right shoulder down. The left tries to come back. One more time. And the opposite. Good. Now staying here, we're going to lengthen one more time and then folding forward. If you want some support, you can bring your forearms onto your thigh and just hang your head. If it's available to you and you haven't just eaten, you can release all the way down into a fold between the legs. Okay. Now, these forward folds are very soothing to the nervous system. It stimulates your vagus nerve, your parasympathetic system. So if you're in that forward fold and your hands are towards the floor, you could even wrap your forearms around the backs of the lower legs and bring the hands on top of the tops of your feet. So kind of like that. So, and feel that stretch between the shoulder blades. It's divine. And then releasing out, rolling up into your seated pose. The thing about pain is it's a messenger and it's important to us. As counselors, anger is a messenger. Resentment is a messenger. Bitterness. A lot of times we're like, oh, I'm bad for feeling this way, or this is a threat. It's like, no. It's letting you know that something needs attention. right? If it's resentment or bitterness, okay, there's a need here, there's a boundary. It might be a real gentle boundary we need to set, or just letting somebody know the impact that it's had on us. But when it comes to pain, right, it's letting us know this part of our body needs some attention. And if we ignore it, it's going to get worse. Okay, so the more self-awareness we have and ability to identify discomfort, we can nip it in the bud, and see, do we need to go to the chiropractor or a physical therapist? Do we need a massage? Do I just need to give myself a self massage right now? Okay. So let's work with the arms a little bit more. Reach your arms out really wide, like you're an eagle. Okay. And we're going to come into eagle arms. And what that looks like is we bring the right arm under the left, and you might be able to bring the palms together, or you might hook around that left thumb. You could even press the tops of the hands together. And then we try to bring alignment. The elbows align with the shoulders. Now notice what happens to the core, right? You've got to really engage it. Let those sits bones really anchor you. Lift through the crown of your head as you try to bring the wrists in alignment with the elbows. Now lift up out of the hips, out of the pelvic bowl. You could exhale and crunch it in. Close the eyes. Inhale, come back to that alignment. You might even come into a micro back bend, lifting the elbows. And then releasing the clasp on the arms. We're going to bring that right arm up and over. The left hand is going to come on top of the elbow, and you're just going to gently guide it down so that the right hand is coming between the shoulder blades. Breathe, sink down. Now, if your tailbone tilted back, bring it down, lengthen through the spine. Good. Release. And now let's do the opposite side. That left arm comes underneath the right. And then we lift the elbows to align with the shoulders. Pay attention to the direction your tailbone is facing. We want it facing down. We want the abdominals engaged. And then the wrists try to align with the elbows. You might lift a little bit higher. Notice what it's doing to the upper back here around the scapula, the shoulder blades. Now hug that navel center in on your next exhale and fold, really crunch in, bringing the elbows towards the belly. The chin tucks. Then on your inhale, bring it up. Maybe even into a little micro back bend. Good. Back to center and release. Take a moment here. Notice the sensations, what released for you in that. And then bring that left arm up. The hand comes between the shoulder blades, and that right hand guides the elbow center and maybe down, just gently, gently. Listening to the body, we want sensation between, if you have a scale of 0 to 10, between a 4 and a 7. You don't want to be at an 8, 9, certainly not a 10. Sharp pain lets you know you've gone too far. Okay, good. Release it down. Now scoot to the back of your chair. No effort here. Hands released to the lap. We could even come into that seated Shavasana. So let your hands just dangle at the sides of the body, your feet out, your legs a little bit wide, and you can just close your eyes and just completely release into your chair. And breathe. When thoughts come in, just let them float past and come back to that awareness of the body moving with the breath. Trying to notice when the inhale turns into the exhale, and when the exhale transitions into the inhale. Absorb all the goodness that the body's feeling right now. all the areas that are A-okay. And start to wiggle the fingers and the toes. Maybe start to move the neck, the head. You can even bring the chin down and roll the right ear to the right shoulder, and then back to center, left ear to left shoulder, and back. Good. And I have a little poem to share with you today. Today, I experienced a lot of pain. Pain, when will you end? Yes, I know, I cannot push you away. You have a reason to be here, something to show me, pushing me towards healing, integrating, or making a change. Today, I experienced a lot of pain, and with myself, I stayed. I see you. Okay? You don't have to be afraid of pain. Pain's an important messenger, and it doesn't take our whole body over. Typically, it stays pretty isolated for the most part. And then when we're in the acute phases of pain, knowing it is temporary. Okay. And if it's not, we bring in supports to help us. And so for those of you collecting wellness points, the keyword for today was relief. And I hope you continue to visit experiences of relief through the rest of your day and week. And another way to experience relief with emotional pain is contacting us at EAP. It's completely free to you if your company is contracting with us. It's for you and any direct family member under your roof. And there's lots of ways you can get in touch with us. One through our phone number that you see in the upper left-hand screen, our email address, and like I mentioned at the beginning, our YouTube page is full of wonderful recordings of our previous lunch and learns and R&R sessions. And we do have our website if you Google or type into a search engine, Ascension EAP. All right. Well, we'll see you next month, the first Wednesday from 12 to 12:30 Central Standard Time. And look forward to practicing with you again. Thanks for joining.